The Steelers-Ravens rivalry, what it used to be. 60% of people are saying no, 40% saying yes. Quite a few votes in on this one. So I think that there is some truth to that. And Ben Roethlisberger spoke about this on his podcast, and Pat McAfee and the boys were kind of reacting to this as well.
The state of the current Pittsburgh Steelers.
When I left, I was kind of the last guard there, obviously. Like, Pouncey left the year before, Dave left. Like, those guys left, and it was like I was the last one. There was such an age gap for me and everybody else on offense that there just wasn't that Steeler tradition passed down. And you have it on defense, don't get me wrong, but you don't have it on offense right now. And it's just making it really hard. You're not seeing, in my opinion, the toughness on offense. And I say toughness in the sense of a Steeler toughness. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like okay, this guy's soft or anything. Like, who's grabbing someone by the face mask and being like, yeah. That's not what we do. That's not what we do.
Hell yeah.
Spence.
Is that happening? And yes, again, you have guys on defense doing it, but you need guys on both sides of the ball doing it, because when you're in offensive meetings, when you're in offensive huddles, when you're doing that, you're meeting separately. You need someone to stand up in that room on offense and be like,
I don't got him.
Hey, this isn't what it means to wear the black and gold. This isn't what has been handed down from those teams in the 70s.
Teams in the 70s,
Steel
that's a long time
Curtain,
ago.
the 4 Super Bowls, the Knowles, the Bradshaws, all those people. It's unbelievable.
It's 50 years, Chuck.
And listen, I understand the further you get away from that, the harder it is.
Sure.
I get that. And
unless it's being carried.
Unless it's being passed
Shout out
down and
Spencer.
carried away.
Spencer is spot on right there. He knows exactly. But that is literally how Pittsburgh Steelers fans view the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's like, hey, we're a tough team. And the reason why we're a tough team and we're not an embarrassing team or an immature team or a team that bitches and all that type of stuff is because my father's Pittsburgh Steelers team was like that. And my father's Pittsburgh Steelers team was like that. This has been what football has been in this city since I'm yay big. You look around the city, you see the people that are there, hardworking people, love to have a drink or 10.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely love to have a drink or 10. Loyal people, passionate people. It's like the Steelers represented the town in which they were playing for more so than maybe anybody else in the entire country.
Except for the Ravens. And that's why I feel like that the Ravens-Steelers rivalry was so good, because you had that toughness mentality, and you still have that with Baltimore, fortunately. But I think there's some truth to what's going on here.
Monday night game in Pittsburgh this year when they played the Browns, and the atmosphere was electric. It was awesome to see the terrible towels flying. It was awesome when they played Renegade and TJ Watt had that, they forced the fumble on Deshaun Watson, scooped it up for a touchdown, and you're like, all right, this team's hard-nosed. The defense is playing. The offense isn't great. But the team I grew up watching and I really enjoyed when I was younger was the teams with Roethlisberger, Bettis, James Ferrier, Larry Foote, Casey Hampton, James Harrison. Those guys, they would punch you in the mouth. Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, Deshae Townsend. Like, I can go off and name a bunch of these guys. And on the offensive side of the ball, they would hit you in the mouth. They would make you regret playing them. And you knew you were going to get the best version of the Steelers each and every week. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes it hurts to turn on the games and watch, because you're like, oh no. Like, I was on the timeline the other day on Twitter, and the Steelers fan I know tweeted, he's like, this is like one of the worst offensive performances that I can remember in my time as a Steelers fan. Like, it's disgusting. It's like, where has this gone? Now there's not, I feel like for the Ravens on that side, there's not as much hatred for the Steelers because they're not as good right now, because they're down. If the Steelers get back to where they feel like they need to be, the rivalry will kind of go back to where it should be. But right now, for Steelers fans, it's like, yeah, I don't disagree with Ben Roethlisberger.
Is it coaching? Like, is that what it's going to take? Is Tomlin the problem here, or is it just that there needs to just be a complete rebuild? I would say that it kind of feels like it's a culture thing, and then maybe it does start with coaching. Do you think that there needs to be a fresh face as a head coach? I mean, there's been 3 head coaches over the last 50 years or something like that?
No, I still don't think Tomlin's the problem. I think it's there are some fans out there that do. everyone looked at Canada. There was the Fire Canada chants that originally started. You got rid of Canada, and then it was the fingers were pointing at Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny Pickett's the guy going forward for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I truly don't. People that are upset with Tomlin and the decisions that have been made and holding on to Matt Canada that long for as long as they did, Matt Canada probably coached 5 more games than he should have this season, which is like crazy to say. But it's sad, man. It really is. It's like turning on your TV on Sunday. You expect to see wins. You expect to see a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's going to go out there and fight, and that's not what you're getting right now. So players are pissed off about it. Like they took Ben Roethlisberger's comments, and it was Cam Hayward, and he wasn't happy with what Ben Roethlisberger was saying. But like Ben Roethlisberger has every right to say that because he kind of carried that torch for the Steelers for so long. And these guys, not necessarily the defense, but as a team, they're not holding up their end of the bargain for Steelers Nation.
No, I think in general, I think once you live during that era of Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Big Ben, Joe Flacco, like that was, for me, that was the rivalry. One of the top, I would say, I mean, I know it's going to be biased, but I think it's top 2, top 3 in all sports, right? Like you can say Yankees, Red Sox, but for me, when it comes next, I go, man, those Ravens Steelers games for a decade were absolutely electric.
Yeah.
And it doesn't carry that same feeling if we're going to talk about that. But for the Steelers in general right now, we're seeing a lot of Steelers football that we're just not used to seeing. Their defense is still pretty solid, but that feeling, I feel you, Rock. It's not the same Pittsburgh Steelers that we have. Mike Tomlin's still there, but this has been more of a challenge